Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's webinar called Magplus 4.2 Features. My name is Anders Odevik. I work here at Magplus at the Stockholm office. And this webinar today, I think it's going to be a fun one as I'm going to go through all the new features coming with the 4.2 update that we released last week. And just so you know, previously, we had some minor problems with the sound quality when doing these webinars. So to be on the safe side today, I decided to pre-record this one. So I recorded this yesterday and I will be available in the chat if you have any questions. Anyhow, let's get started. My plan today is to go through all the updates by starting with the changes in the plugin, then show all the new stuff in the production tool. Then I will wrap it up with some news for Android and also for Magplus Publish. Okay, so let's get started with all the new stuff in the plugin. And just so you know, these new features that I'm going to show you in the plugin and in the production tool are only available for iOS at the moment. We're working on getting these features into the Android version during the fall. Okay, so the first feature that I would like to show you is the overlay feature. And to show you what the overlay is, I'm going to use the We app. I'm going to give you a link in the chat window as well so you can download it and check it out yourself. It's for iPad and iPhone. And we can just start this app here. And you can just browse through it, just swipe through it regularly. As you can see, it all looks like a regular Magplus app, but there's one difference. As you can see down here in the right corner, in the bottom right corner, you can see that we have a yellow tab, so to speak, that is not being swiped when I'm swiping all the other pages. This is because this yellow tab here is part of a overlay vertical. So, and what's also special about this overlay vertical is that this tab is located on the A layer, which means that I can actually drag this one up here into position, and I'm able to click all the links that are in there as well, and I can still swipe through the magazine and also read the articles while the overlay is still there. And I can do like that, go bring it back to where it was in the beginning. And what's also interesting, as you already saw, I can have pop-ups in it, and then I can have links in the pop-ups as well in the overlay vertical. And also I can have jump links in my overlay vertical. And as you can see, if I click this content here, I'll be brought back to the content page for the issue. So I'm going to show you now how this was done. And to do that, I need to go into InDesign. So I'm going to open InDesign here. And I actually got the actual vertical, the actual InDesign document that was used to do this overlay effect that was done in the We app, so you can see it. As you can see, it's not very advanced and it's fairly, as you see, I'm using the regular template for the overlay vertical. And there's nothing special. I have links here, all the jump links and all the pop-ups that you saw in the actual app. You can see that we have the clickable areas here, and we also have some other clickable areas on top of each other, but these are only active when the pop-ups are active. And I can give you some information about that in the chat as well if you would like to know how that is done, to have links from pop-ups as well, which is fairly good to know how that is done. Anyhow, let's see here. The actual setup is very simple. So this object here that I want to be available on the A layer, on the overlay vertical. So this is now located on the A layer on the overlay vertical. So this is a separate vertical that I'm now going to export to the same folder that where I exported all my other verticals for this issue. We can just look at it before we export it in the Magplus reviewer, so you can see how it looks. So here is the simulator. I'm going to use this now, and let's bring it. So I checked here. Most important thing when you're doing the overlay vertical is that you check overlay here, and also that you make sure that background it's set to none, and that you haven't set like black or white for background. Select none, because otherwise you will have a background on the overlay vertical covering the other verticals that are underneath it, so to speak. So I'm going to select background none, and then check the overlay button here, and then just make sure that you have selected 4.2 as well. Then just do a fast review like you normally do. As you can see here, I'm going to make this smaller so it can fit the screen. So here we have now the overlay vertical, and as you can see, it's blinking there. It's sort of a HTML object that the Mick, our designer Mick Druget, put in there just to make sure that just a little bit of informing the user that the overlay vertical is there. And if I'm just, now you can see, this is it basically. I'm bringing it up, that, and now I have all the I can't use the jump links as I'm not reviewing this from the production tool along with the other verticals, but I'm able to check all the pop-ups and all the links as well. So now I'm going to test this with all the other verticals. So I make sure that the overlay is checked, 4.2 is checked, then I just, like I normally do, I export this to my issue folder. So now it's going to start the Photoshop here to convert the images to the correct size, and while it's doing that, now let's start the production tool. I'm going to check here, and now I've connected the production tool to import from the issue folder that I exported to in InDesign. As you can see, I have all the verticals here for my issue. Let's see, quite many. And here I have my overlay vertical here that I just exported from InDesign. And just to bring it in to space, I'm just going to drag it and drop it here on other objects instead of content verticals. I'm just going to drop it here on other objects. Let it load for a while, and let production tool just get it there. So it's still loading. It's quite heavy, this MIB file that we've used. And as you can see here, now I have my overlay vertical here, and let's test this one together with the new, and also you can see here how I can check the preview overlays here in the production tool. There's also a new feature in the production tool. I'm going to talk more about this later of all the other new features, but if you check preview overlays, you will be able to see how your overlay will look here on the other verticals. So let's see here, let's bring it in, it looks good. So let's select some of these verticals, because I don't want to review the full issue. It's going to take a while to package it all, so I'm just going to pick a few of these, and then I'm going to review selected. Let's bring up the simulator here. So you can see here, now we have this little HTML animation here, and I'm able to scroll through here, and also I have my overlay vertical I'm able to use here all the time. And as you can see, it's fairly easy to do this overlay vertical. And also, what I just like to show you guys as well is that you can place objects. Of course, you can place objects on the B layer as well. on the overlay vertical that will stand still all the time. So let's say that I wanted this overlay vertical to be static here all the time, and I don't want to use the A layer to bring it up. Then I'll just place it there, drag it down to the B-Slides pin blocks layer instead. As you can see now I'm not very thorough, but I'm gonna leave these pop-ups, but just so you can see how this object now is located on the B layer instead, the B-Slides pin blocks layer for this one. And I'm gonna do a export again so you can see what happens. Let's open the production tool, wait for, now InDesign is finished, so let's refresh and do another review. Let it load for a minute and then review selected. So either you can select that you want to have the overlay on the A layer, on the B layer, and you can have it as a pop-up. You can bring up more content on the B layer if you want to, and or on the A layer. But now you can see that this is now located on the B layer instead, and I'm not able to actually drag it away from. So you can use this however you want. You can do your own menu system here, down here. And it's very good to use if you're using jump links only, for example. I'm going to show you how to do this if you haven't seen that in the production tool later as well. As you can see, it works like a normal overlay would do. And also you can have overlay verticals for dual layout. Then you would just do a layout for landscape and one layout for portrait, and you would be able to use the overlay verticals in that sense as well. Okay, so that is for overlay verticals. Now I was thinking that I was going to show you how to make slideshows in the plugin. And let's see here. So what I first want to do is to start the app again, just to show you guys an example. And I'm gonna go to the correct page. I think I found a slideshow here. Let's see here. So here we have in portrait mode, it just says rotate to see more of Curtis' art. And when I rotate here, they do have a slideshow here. And this slideshow that you're watching right now is made using HTML. And what we want to do is to give the same experience but do the slideshow in the InDesign plugin instead. So I'm going to show you how to do this now. So let's start a new document like this, and I'm going to make this one full screen so you can see it. And as you can see here, what I've done is that I'm using the landscape master page here, and so this is only going to be viewable in landscape, just like the slideshow that they had in the We article. And I'm not going to do a portrait layout for now, but you guys get that when I can make two layouts now with dual layouts. And let's see here. So the first thing I want to do is that I'm gonna actually go here and change this back to Magplus object and block here. So I have this object here, this box here. In this box, I want to have a slideshow within this box. So the first thing I'll do is that I'll place the first image that I want to have in my slideshow within this box. So I'll select the box that I have here. I located the box on the B-Slides main content layer for this one. And then I'll place it here. And it doesn't really matter what layer you place this on, as long as it's on the B-Slides main content, B-Slides pin blocks, or the A main for inline body content layer, the A main tower layer. So here's my first image in my first photo in my slideshow that I want to show. And the next thing I'll do now is that I'll go to Window, and then I'll go to Interactive, and I'll open the Object States panel in InDesign. So what I'm looking to do now is to do a slideshow, and for that I will use multiple states within this object. So using the Object States panel, I will be able to have several different states happening within this box that I have here. So I'll just click this new here. Now when I click that button to add a state, I now have two states here, as you can see. I have state 1, which is this one, and I have state 2, which is this one. Is basically a copy of state 1. But I do want to have another photo for state 2. So what I'll do is that I'll select state 2 here in the object state, and I'll double click just to make editable for this box, and I'll place a new image inside here. So this is my second image in my slideshow, and I add another state. I'll name that state 3, and I'll just double click that. So now I'm on state 3, and I'm going to place a image inside that one as well, and then I'm going to add the latest state here to the slideshow. I'll double click here, add the last image that I want in my slideshow. So here I have 4 states, 4 different photos in my slideshows. Like that. So this is going to be my first one, this is going to be the second one, and this, third, fourth. Easy. So what I'll do next is just select this object, this object with the multiple states within it. I'm going to select state 1 just to make sure it looks good. And then object type, I'm going to change from block. So I'm going to select Magplus object, which is where I make settings for specific objects in my layout. So I select the object with the multiple states in it, and then object type, I changed it to slideshow instead. And yeah, just for now, I'm going to set the transition to slide. I'm going to leave it to that and have it to be user swipeable. And then I'm going to go back and do a fast review here. Open the simulator so you guys can see it. It's loading all the images, and here I have my slideshow. And as you can see, I probably should have put some sort of indication of that there's actually more if you swipe, but that's something you can add yourself if you want to as well. But it's very simple. And as you can see, now I have my slideshow here, and you see when I reach the end of the slideshow, I'm not getting any further. I have to go back. So let's say that I wanted to actually start from the beginning once I reach the end. So I'll go back to Magplus object, I'll select loop, and actually for this one I want to show you, I'm going to add that, I'm going to select show slide indicator, and you guys will see what that is. And I'm also going to select autoplay and set it at 2 seconds. So this means that it's going to show one image for 2 seconds, then it's going to slide over to the next one, and so on. And when it reaches the 4th image, it's going to go to the 1st image when it's shown that. And also select to show the slide indicator, which you will see as well. I'll go back, do a fast review, and bring up the simulator so you guys can see it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger now. So here we have my first image, second image, and as you can see, it's showing the image for 2 seconds, and down here at the bottom you can see the slide indicator with these tiny dots here, so you can see that is actually something happening. And as I also selected that this was going to be user swipeable, here in the InDesign plugin I selected the object to be user swipeable. This means that I'm actually able to stop the auto playing and just do the swiping myself if I want to. And also, so what I was talking about before was that I want to imitate the slideshow that I was showing you in the Wii app, but the Wii app wasn't, the slideshow wasn't sliding, it was fading. So what I'll do then is that I'll still have it being object type slideshow, but I change the transition to fade instead. And now you can see that I'm not able to have it being swipeable, but that's because I don't have a slideshow anymore. And I'm going to leave it at this so you guys can see all the settings here. So I'm going to be show slide indicator, loop it, and then autoplay as well. And it's going to do a fast review. Wait for it. So here we have the slideshow, and as you can see, now it's fading between the photos instead of having a slideshow. And now you can see I was putting it only 2 seconds. Maybe that's a little bit too fast for it, but at least you can see that what's happening. And what's also interesting about this feature is actually that you can bring out, for example, if you would have a heading in your layout that you would like to sort of fade in, for example, then you would be able to create an object just like this. So let's say that I want to have my heading within this box. So what I'll do is that I make a text box like this. I'll just enter a heading of some kind. This is going to be beautiful, but you will get the idea. So here we go. Let's make it a bit bold. It's not. So here we have the heading that I want to fade in once the user actually goes to the page. So then what I'll do is that the first state, this box is going to be empty, right? Because I want the heading to fade in once the user enters the page. So it's not going to be there from the beginning. So what I'll do is that I'll select the empty box and I'll just click this convert selection to multi-state object under the object state panel. And now you can see I have state 1, which is empty. I have state 2, which is also empty. But I'm going to do this now. I'm going to cut out the heading that I had. I'm going to double click here. And then I'm going to select paste into. So now I have my heading here inside this box. And the next thing I'll do is that I'll go to Magplus object for this box. I select that this is not going to be a block, it's going to be a slideshow. And I'm not going to use slide for the effect. I'm going to use fade. And then I'm going to have it to autoplay. And let's say that I want it to appear after 3 seconds. Fade in after 3 seconds. Like that. So first state is this, and the second state is this. So let's review this, see what we got. And there you go. So there you have the heading. So here's your chance to actually, without using HTML, you can do simple of this fading in animations if you want to as well. So that's another way of using the slideshow feature if you want to. Okay, so the next features that I want to show you, they are all in the production tool. So the new features for 4.2 in the plugin are overlay and slideshows. And the next features, I'm going to go switch over to the production tool instead. So the first new feature is the multi-device handling, which says made to make it easier for you guys to switch between the devices that you have in your production, and to make it easier for you to actually work when you're creating all the MIBs that you're creating. And just to show you how it works, I'm going to go here up to issue folder, and I'm going to add a new issue folder here to look at. And As you can see, if you have a look here at my folder structure, this is the recommended folder structure for all when you're doing work with our tools. So what I've done here is that I have the issue, so this is issue 6, and then you have InDesign, and you have the Apple iPad, one folder for Apple iPad InDesign docs, and then you have one folder for the Apple iPad Retina docs inside as well. And also I have one folder for the exported verticals. Here I have one folder for Apple iPad for the exported verticals, and also for Apple iPad Retina. If my laptop would just load it a little bit faster, you would see it. Let's see here. There we go. So you can see that I have my verticals here as well. But instead of, as we did in the old production tool 4.1, you had to select one of these folders. But in this new version, you can actually just select the folder that these are located in. So I'm going to select the exported verticals folder that I have here. And then open it. Let production tool load for a bit. It's reading all the verticals now. And here you can see now, here under issue folder, I have a tab called multi-device, and it's Apple iPad here. Now I'm able to actually switch over to Apple iPad Retina as well. So I can switch between my Retina issue and my standard issue, for example. And you can also do this when you have iPhone issues as well, if you want to. So here I have my Apple iPad Retina. I'm gonna switch back to the Apple iPad version instead, so you can see it. And the next change in the production tool, which is a really good one, I think, is that you're able to change the GUID manually if you want to, because sometimes you can have problems when uploading the MIB files to our servers, and then you have to make sure that the GUID is not incorrect, or that it's not that the GUID is not taken by a previously uploaded MIB file, for example, and all those sort of kind of things can happen with servers. But the good thing here is that you can decide exactly what name you want, exactly what GUID you want your new MIB file to have. So easily to do this, just double click the GUID field here in the production tool. Then you're able to change for example, the GUID number at the end here. So I'm going to change it to 12, for example, and then just click outside. I'm able to change the GUID now, which is really good, so you don't have to open the issue XML as you previously did for the previous version if you wanted to change the GUID. So now you can do it manually here if you want to. And then we have the sorting. So let's say here, I'm gonna actually drag these ones out on the clipboard here. Because if you're doing a really big project, you want to be able to actually sort your imported verticals that you have. So I'm just gonna drag these ones out here so you can see it. And here, now in the clipboard, I'm able to order the new verticals that you have here in the clipboard. I'm able to order them by ID and name. So I probably want this to be my name, for example. Then you can go by cover. And I think what most publishers do is that they keep track of the order of the verticals using the ID, the vertical ID of the vertical. So then I'll just order it by ID instead. Let's see that. Here we go. So then you just drag them into place again, the order you wish. And this is really good if you're using the vertical ID to keep track or to keep the exact order of your verticals, for example. And my laptop seems to have a lot of to do right now. Cover here as well, so we have it correct. And then also I'm gonna bring out, and there we go. I'm gonna leave the overlay where it is. And also what you guys can see here is also the wall view. Here you can preview, you can do a list view, which is fairly easy. You get a good sense of all your verticals. And then we have, as you can see here, for example, we have quite a lot of verticals in this nib file. And if I switch to the wall view instead, see that they're listed in this way. So you're able to actually scroll through your verticals and give you sort of the wall view instead. So I'm gonna go back to preview, and you can see all the other functions here as well, which is pretty interesting. For example, the one I like the most is the disable jump link animation here. And it's pretty interesting because now you're able, for example, when doing navigation here, you can choose to navigate using jump links only. This was a feature that we introduced in 4.0 or 4.1, I don't remember exactly. But anyway, this feature made it possible for you to remove the swiping, which means that you're not able to swipe horizontally between the verticals, and you would only be able to navigate using jump links. And this is a good feature, but the one thing that was missing is that you weren't able to disable the animation. First, I'm going to show you what I mean with the jump link animation, so you guys can see it. It's going to select these that I have here, just a couple of verticals, so I can include the table of contents that I have here. I'm going to review the selected verticals. And here you can see we have the content page, and I'm able to swipe this one because I didn't disable the swiping. But if I would tap now here to read the Icona Pop article, tap that and tap that again, you can see that it was an animation, just a small tiny animation showing the swiping. So it brings me to the article. And I can actually, if I select disable jump link animations here, can review selected, you can see how that looks instead. So here we have the content page. Tap that button. Now, if I tap this, it's going to go to the Icona Pop article. And as you can see, it removed the animation, just brought us to the vertical instead of the swiping animation that we had. So, so at least you may know now that that is possible to do. And it's really good if you want to do a more app-like experience for your publication. Maybe you don't want to do a magazine app, you want to do an actual app, and then I would recommend to use the to disable the jump link animations, for example. And that's all the news for the production tool news update. For Android, we have a big news concerning scaling for Android. And here we can just show you a simple illustration of what we mean by scaling. So let's say for now we're talking about Android here, and for Android MIBs now, you can select that you only want to upload a 1280 times 800 MIB file for the Android tablet, for example. And now this MIB file will then scale depending on the device. So for 1280 times 800, it will scale the same as it is. It won't be any changes. But for 2560 times 1600, it will then scale up to fit the screen. And also for smaller devices, it will scale down to fit the screen as well, which makes it so easy to make all these layouts for Android. So you only have to do one layout for tablets basically, and it will fit all screens, which is really good for Android screens because there are so many different resolutions on the screens. So you will need one MIB file for tablet and one MIB file for smartphone, and then you're good to go for Android. And so that's the news for Android. And if you have any questions regarding that, just let us know in the chat, and we will point you to some articles to read if you want to. And the last change, last new thing that I want to show you is in Magplus Publish. So now it's possible for you to, if you want to host on your own, so now it's possible for you to host using a secure URL. So this makes it possible for you to use a secure URL that changes over time. So let's say you have a secure URL to your MIB file and you want it to change after 30 minutes. Then now it's possible to do that here, to upload. Which makes the whole handling of issues even more secure than it was before. That's all the changes, all the new features for the 4.2 update, and I hope that you will be able to check it out and experiment with it. As you can see, for example, with the slideshow feature, you can use it in many ways and doesn't have to be specifically for slideshows. And I mean, have a look at the overlay vertical feature, because that is really helpful, and you can do some really cool stuff in there with, if you add animations or whatever. You can build up your own menu systems basically using this feature now. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope this has been a good one and a fun one, as I promised you in the beginning. And if you have any questions, let us know in the chat, or if you have any questions later, just go to support.magplus.com and you can check out the forum that we have here, and we also have quite many articles that you can read, and here you can also read a more in-depth article on the updates for 4.2. Okay, thank you guys, have a good day.